Hello, good morning. Welcome to Newsroom here on GHOne Television with me, Awisi, Dede. Let's take a look at our headlines this morning. Coming up, Western Central Regional Police Command commences investigations into an explosion that killed 3 in Aboso near Takwa. WAEC dismisses suggestions that candidates from private schools may have been disadvantaged in the marking of the 2026 BEC following allegations by Ghana National Association of Private Schools of discrepancies. Also, we have the details of the NPP as they gear up for the democracy under attack demonstration tomorrow.
This demonstration is peaceful constitutional exercise intended to reaffirm our collective commitment to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And later, Ghana Statistical Service reveals 7 in 10 Ghanaians who dealt with public officials in the second half of 2025 were asked to pay bribes to access services they were entitled to. And on the international front, Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warns that Ebola outbreak in Congo is getting out of control with more than 1,700 deaths recorded in just 14 weeks. We have details of these and many more coming up shortly. Stay with me. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. The news is coming to you live from our Platinum studio here in Accra. And it's also streaming live on Facebook at GHOne TV. I am Awisi, Dede. This morning, 3 people have died and 3 others have also sustained injuries following an explosion at Aboso in Pristiahuni Valley municipality of the Western region. The deceased have been identified as David Kofi Fletcher and 2 others, only known as Solomon and Baba. The explosion also damaged nearby properties and destroyed 6 vehicles. Eyewitnesses say the blast may have been triggered when an attempt to shoot a snake accidentally ignited explosive allegedly stored near a fuel station. Eyewitnesses claim workers believed to be associated with the owner of the explosives were nearby when they spotted the snake and attempted to kill it with a firearm. But the bullet missed the snake but struck the explosive, triggering the blast. The explosion sent residents fleeing as nearby structures shook from the impact. Emergency response teams were deployed to rescue the injured, secure the area, and begin investigations. Let's take a listen to the Western Central Police PRO, ASP Beatrice Texan.
On the 4th of August 2026, the Western Central Regional Police Command responded to an explosion at a tailings site in Aboso near Takwa. The explosion resulted to 3 deaths, 3 injuries. The explosion also caused an extensive damage to properties. Several houses within the community had their window panes shattered, while 6 vehicles parked at a nearby washing bay also had 8 windscreens and window glasses damaged. I wish to make a categorical statement in my capacity as the Western Central Regional Police PRO that only 3 individuals have been confirmed dead, 3 others stable and responding to treatment. The Regional Command also expresses its deepest condolences to the bereaved families and wishes the injured persons speedy recovery. Again, the unlawful possession and storage of explosives constitutes serious offenses and poses risk to public safety. Members of the public are urged to report any suspected illegal storage of explosives to the nearest police station.
Let's get an update on the explosion which happened yesterday. Divisional Officer 2, Alex, he's the Municipal Fire Commander in Takwa. He joins me on phone to have a conversation on this. Alex, good morning. Update us on the number of people affected. The police is reporting 3, but people are saying 4. Kindly clarify for us.
Right. Good morning, Nanama. Yes, I also sent my PR, my investigation officer to the incident scene, and instantly 3 people died, and 3 were also transferred to hospital. But when they got to hospital, 1 also passed. So 4 people died after the incident.
Okay, so the 6 that were affected, 4 people are dead. And how about the rest of the 2 in the hospital?
2 are now in hospital receiving treatment.
And they are responding quite well?
Yes, they are responding to treatment.
Give us a vivid...
It's our prayer that they will recover and then come back to life.
Give us a vivid explanation of what really happened. Has any arrest been made so far?
For now, there has not been any arrest. Actually, the incident happened at around 2 thereabouts. That was the time they called fire service. But we have not been able to arrest anybody to that effect.
Why? Do you know why?
I can't explain because, Ghanaians, when there is an incident, people just troop in. And unfortunately, the one who owned the place came to my office 2 weeks ago. I think he's called Kofi Fletcher. He came to my office 2 weeks ago.
With regard to what?
Who passed on.
Hold on, Alex. The man who shot the gun came to your office 2 weeks ago. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
What's the connection?
Exactly.
What did he come there to do?
He's building a sewer gas station. He's building a gas station. So he brought the document to my office, and I asked him to go and then ask 1 or 2 documents because what he submitted on that day wasn't enough. So that made me have contact with the guy. He's called Kofi Fletcher.
Okay.
So that was the only person, those 2 parties, he was the only person I knew his name.
Is this said person in a business of explosive? We are asking why such explosives were exposed in an open like that. What does he do?
No, actually, they themselves, they don't believe there was any explosive material around.
The people in the area?
Yes, I think they deal with galamsey. But actually, those who grind stones and process this in the gold ore. So actually, in the course of their operation, they saw a snake. They saw the snake, according to information gathered on the ground. So when Fletcher came, he just pulled a gun and then shot the snake. But according to my investigation officer, I said when the guy shot the snake for about 10 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes before the explosion took place.
And this is what witnesses told you.
Took place. Come again.
Alex, this is what witnesses in the area told you.
Okay. So you are aware of it?
No, I was trying to confirm.
This information?
No, hold on. What you're telling us right now is what witnesses have told you, that the shot was made and 10 minutes, that was 10 minutes before the explosives, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you believe that the gunshot had nothing to do with the explosion?
Oh, it has a direct
Okay.
Because, sometimes because it was hidden, through excessive heat, it could happen. But initially, because they themselves got explosive material, hidden explosive material. So when the incident took place, when the guy shot the gun, it will take some time. Because if it doesn't just arrest contact, it will not explode.
Okay.
When it does not get direct contact, it will not explode.
Okay.
It's after excessive heat, probably.
Okay. All right. Alex, thank you. Thank you so much for speaking with us, giving us updates on that. That was the Divisional Officer 2, Alex, and he's the Municipal Fire Commander at Takwa. Away from that, the death toll from Monday's deadly road traffic collision at Brimstone Bridge on the Accra-Kumasi Highway in the Eastern region has risen to 3 following the death of an 11-year-old child who sustained critical injuries in the crash. The Eastern Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, DO3 Oheman Aaron Edu, confirmed the latest development to our Eastern Regional correspondent.
According to the Eastern Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, DO3 Oheman Aaron Edu, the child died while receiving treatment at Hawa Memorial Hospital. DO3 Aaron Edu also disclosed that 7 people were initially injured in the crash, comprising 2 females and 5 males. The victims were transported to the Chebi Government Hospital and Hawa Memorial Hospital for emergency medical treatment. The first 2 fatalities were the occupants of the fuel tanker, which plunged into a ditch and caught fire after the collision. The victims were burnt beyond recognition. The Ghana National Fire Service said it remains on standby at the scene and assured the public that further updates will be provided as more information becomes available. The fatal collision, which occurred on Monday, August 3, 2026, involved a fuel tanker, an STC passenger bus, a Mitsubishi pickup, and a Kia Sorento. The impact of the crash sparked a massive fire that completely consumed the fuel tanker, the STC bus, and the Mitsubishi pickup, reducing them to charred wreckage. The Kia Sorento also sustained extensive damage. The horrific blaze left 2 people dead, while 5 others suffered varying degrees of injuries. The identities of the deceased have not yet been released.
In related developments, Ranking Member on Parliament's Road and Transport Committee, Kennedy Nyako, says the minority's position that government should urgently complete ongoing works on the Accra-Kumasi Highway reflects the concerns of many Ghanaians who depend on the Accra-Kumasi Highway for travel and commerce. Speaking earlier on News Tonight, he described the highway as a death trap that has claimed countless lives over the years and called on government to declare its rehabilitation a national emergency.
Minorities' position is not far from what the general sentiment of the general population, especially those that uses the Accra-Kumasi highways. I mean, if you recount that this particular road have recorded several fatalities, many lives have been lost on this stretch. And it has become a death trap. And as a matter of national emergency, I think it is time for all of us. We have to put our political coloration or political position, partisan position somewhere and find a solution to fix this road. That is the only road that currently we have. We do not have any alternative route that goes to Kumasi directly from Accra. This is the only road that we have. So much attention has to be paid into. This road particularly has a history. It has a great history. This road is a single carriage road. How come a 240 kilometer stretch of road that leads almost about 10 important regions? Eastern region, Ashanti region, the 5 northern region, and the 3 Bono regions. So this road is the most busiest, and it leads to 10 out of the 16 regions. So government needs to pay key attention.
The NPP has described the party's upcoming Democracy Under Attack demonstration as a civic action aimed at demanding accountability from government rather than a political exercise. The protest, scheduled for Thursday, August 6, is intended to remind government that political authority is derived from the people and that leaders must remain accountable to citizens throughout their tenure. Here's the party's national organizer, Henry Nanabuachi, speaking earlier at the press briefing.
This demonstration is peaceful constitutional exercise intended to reaffirm our collective commitment to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, the independence of the judiciary, the rule of law, and the democratic values upon which our republic has been built over the past 3 decades. Today, more than ever before, we believe the time has come for citizens to stand together in defense of the constitutional order and the integrity of the institution that safeguard our democracy. Purpose of this demonstration. The national demonstration is being organized in response to what we consider an emerging pattern of politically motivated persecution, selective application of justice, disregard for due process, and actions which, in our considered opinion, threaten the independence of critical democratic institutions. These developments have raised serious concerns regarding constitutional governance, the separation of powers, public confidence in the administration of justice, and the continued strength of Ghana's democratic institutions.
Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Ofasia Yoruba and Chairman of the NPP's Policy Committee, GHOne Nkrumah, has criticized government's recent 2 Ghana cedis reduction in fuel prices, describing the measure as insufficient to provide meaningful relief to consumers. Speaking on the issue, the former Information Minister argued that the price cut would have little real impact on the cost of living and questioned government's ability to sustain the intervention.
Despite the cedi strengthening from about 14 to 11, petrol is now still about 5.7% above the January 2025 level, and diesel is still now about 24% above the January 2025 level. Even with a full 2 Ghana cedi pass-through, diesel remains about 11.4% higher. We also noticed that this 2 cedi reduction for 1 month comes after about a year of a 1 cedi per litre across all products. And so this economics of you charge big and then you announce that you've reduced it marginally, it doesn't wash, it doesn't fool anybody. And our teams will be providing some more context to that. Third, this 1 month measure, it comes at a huge cost. If you add it to some of the things that they've done in times past, it adds up to a huge cost. And there are questions about who is paying for.
Let's get more from my colleague Obed Kingaglo, who sat through this press conference. Obed, what did you pick from tomorrow's democracy?
So Awisi Dede, I'm currently here at the New Patriotic Party headquarters here in Asalam Down, where the party is preparing for tomorrow's demonstration, which they've tagged as Democracy Under Attack. Let me engage the deputy youth organizer of the party, GHOne, who is also here mobilizing and preparing for tomorrow's demonstration. What really we are to expect tomorrow, the starting point, and what activities they'll be doing. GHOne, you are live on GHOne TV.
Thank you, my brother. Good afternoon to your cherished listeners.
Right. When you say Democracy democracy is under attack. What exactly do you mean?
Well, fundamentally, our constitution guarantees certain rights: freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. It can be. Again, it guarantees us the right to peacefully coexist, where a government is responsible for its citizenry, and the citizens also meet their due to the government. But it appears that under the NDC government, we are seeing contrary to that. The social agreement between the people and this government has broken down. Today, citizens of this country speak, and the least opportunity, the coercive powers of the state are brought against them. We can count, among others, over 45 incidences where the state machinery have been brought against ordinary citizens expressing their views on TV. That is not to say that for us as a party, we sort of condone any misgivings or uproar against the government. But at least there has to be a room where there's a balance where people can freely express themselves, and then also the application of law, which we are not seeing. Again, you're also seeing incidences where there's selective application of justice. Aside from selective application of justice, there's misapplication of bail, where Yoko and among others are imposing hefty and unconscionable, bail conditions on people. These are some of the things we believe that is not justifiable.
Tell us about tomorrow's demonstration. Where are they starting? Where will you be going to present petition?
Well, tomorrow we are starting in front of the Supreme Court. The space just opposite the Supreme Court. We are mobilizing over 20,000 people from across the Greater Accra region. Our first petition, of course, will go to the Supreme Court, and then we march on through to the principal streets of Accra to the Jubilee House. And then, of course, the last set will be through the leadership of our party to present a petition to Parliament. Then beyond that, we are also going to make sure that a number of these demonstrations are also organized across other regions of the country. And we would appreciate if the media joins us in this fight.
Thank you very much, GHOne. GHOne is Deputy Youth Organizer of the MPP speaking to us. So I would say that apart from this demonstration, we also had a press conference with the policy committee of the New Patriotic Party where they spoke about the 2 cedi reduction of fuel prices. And so basically that was what happened here at the New Patriotic Party headquarters this afternoon. I would say.
Okay, thank you so much, Obe Kinkaglo, for bringing us up to speed on details of the press that just ended a while ago. Well, head of research at COPEC, Paul Ofori, says government's fuel price intervention could place a significant financial burden on the economy if sustained. He warned that the growing cost of the subsidy could eventually be transferred to consumers if the debt is not properly managed. Well, this conversation is quite topical, and Nanama is in the studio with what you've been saying on social media.
Well, thank you very much, Dede. We have the NPP Legal Directorate member saying that this is a good thing for there to be a 2 cedi reduction. Nana Addo says, yes, it feels good to hear some NPP members thinking this way. Charisma, you have no option. It's a step in the right direction. We also have Bature. They'll force him to come and deny he said this. Wisdom says, NPP got different communication team, Anna. Miracles is saying something different. Awal today in own. We also have John Addo. When you cooperate like this, Ghana will be fine. We also have Selassie. They will deal with him very soon. Kojo says they still have some wise men among them. We also have Carl Ni Adom. First time one of them tried to speak sense, worth 2 Ghana cities. We also have Yusuf, one of the few genuine people in the NPP. We also have Sawen McIntosh. If it's good, appreciate, and if it's bad, denounce it. This is called citizens speaking. You also have Lukman, a grateful member of the 38% family. And here, Koji, this guy wants to leave the party. Issa Awal, in the first place, who imposed the D-levy tax. Then we have Samuel Kwame. They will sideline you. Nana Kwesi, beautiful sense of humor. If you are like this, it's your practice, I'll be forced to respond to the law again. It keeps corrupt minds in suspense. We also have here Sylvanus. This guy will never appear on any show again. And then we have Tahira, our last comment here, asking, did your people know about this? Well, these are your comments concerning the 2 cedi reduction from the government. I think it's interesting. My name is Danama Akwa. Dede, back over to you.
For bringing us details of what people have been saying on social media. Away from that, the Ghana National Association of Private Schools has raised concerns over alleged discrepancies in the provisional result of the 2026 BEC In a press release dated 5th August 2026, the General Secretary of the Association, Kennedy Donko, called on WAEC to urgently audit and reconcile affected results. The association says it has received several reports from member schools across the country pointing to inconsistencies in the results released to candidates. Concerns include grades being awarded for subjects candidate did not register for or write, results that do not reflect students' known academic performance, and unexplained failures. It warned that inaccurate grades could affect students' choices and future academic progress because the placement process largely depends on the grades awarded. The association said it is currently gathering and documenting complaints from its member schools nationwide, and added that should WAEC fail to address the concerns and correct affected results, its leadership will meet to determine the next collective action. Now, in reaction to this, the head of public affairs at WAEC, John Kapi, has dismissed claims and concerns raised by the Ghana National Association of Private Schools over this year's VC results, insisting the marking process is impartial and confidential. Mr. Kapi also encouraged affected schools and candidates to use WAEC established review procedures to enable the council to investigate and, when necessary, rectify verified discrepancies.
There's no truth in the fact that we favor public schools over private schools. We deal with all of them as examination candidates, the same standard examination that they have written, the same scheme, standard marking scheme that we use in assessing them. So really there's no truth in the fact that we favor public schools over private schools. The issue of somebody not registering a subject and scoring a grade in it will have to be investigated. I've heard about it. Certainly we'll ask our IT department, but again, we need to get the details of that particular candidate. We need to know who the person is, and so based on that, we'll be able to do our investigations and then, come out with a report about exactly what may have happened. There's grading system that we use. The state 9 grading system that will grade candidates on a scale of 1 to 9. It tells you that we have high achievers and low achievers. That's the essence of the state 9 grading system. But then if there's anybody who is not satisfied with their results, they are at liberty to come to WAEC, apply for remarking, and that will be done for them.
Let's have a conversation on this. Communications manager of the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, GHOne Joseph. He joins me on Zoom. Good to have you on the program, Joseph. I'm guessing your concerns, you have enough evidence to back your concerns.
Definitely. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to all the listeners and viewers across the country. Indeed, WAEC is a major public institution that without evidence, we wouldn't be in a haste to come out with any information in a bid to discredit their operational jurisdiction or what they are doing for the nation in terms of examination, organization, and then coordination as well. And so before this year, I think there has not been any of such grave concern from the association or from individual schools or even from individual parents or school children across the country. This year seems to be a specific and peculiar one that has enormous concerns from various individual students and parents across the country, and even the schools that we think it is something. We are not saying they have, practically, intentionally disenfranchised or probably done any injustice to private school children. We are believing and thinking that it might be a discrepancy out of either technical or compilation, the collation processes. And we hope that they take this as a concern in good faith and then investigate whatever the concerns are and get to resolve this in good faith.
You said that this issue, as of last year, did you face such issues? No, right?
Each and every year comes with its own
So
concerns,
it's a compilation. Hold on, I want to understand something. It's a compilation of how many years? This situation that you're complaining about is a compilation of how many years?
This is virtually a compilation of only this year as a concern to us for now.
Okay.
And because over the years, we've not had any such grave concern from parents or even from students. And so this is the year that the results are quite disturbing and the results are quite glaring. If you check the reference being made by my big brother, John Kapi, about a student registering for a course and not getting good results and rather getting good results in whatever she didn't register, that is a fact. But the good thing is that, I mean, just imagine I check my results in 1 minute and I had this results. In the next minute, I go and check and had a different result. What is the faith you want me to have in the system? There are a lot of our school children that check their results initially and have certain kind of results. And later when they check, then they have a different set of results. This is an integrity oriented organization as WAI. This is an organization that cloud itself so much with integrity that it does not have to give any room for us to question the credibility and integrity of the results or the examination that they conduct for Ghanaian children.
I understand you, but I mean, wouldn't you agree with me that because it's just a 1 year situation, perhaps let's cut WAEC some slack because it hasn't been happening for more than 2 years or a long time?
This is 1 year situation. Even if it is a 1 day situation, if it is even a 1 day mishap from the WAEC, this is an organization or a council that should not have any reason to have excuse for not delivering excellent results. In fact, even if it is 1 year a concern, this is an organization that can crush the dreams of thousands and thousands of Ghanaian school children.
I agree.
Mind you, these kids are going through the school selection processes, and any school that is being selected is based on this particular result that they receive as of now. And so just imagine your ward has been affected in this way. The fellow has not been encouraged to select the best of school for him or herself and then get demoralized in going to school. As we speak, I've sent some couple of concerns from parents to your production team, and they will show you some of the kids are virtually sick for days because of these results. And these are, one, we are dealing with their mental health. Two, we are dealing with their future, as some might even end up saying, because I haven't gotten the specific school that I want to go, I won't go to school again. And we are encouraging as a nation to have more of our children and more of our population being literate by enrolling at least to the senior high level. And so these things will not be a ground to demoralize or even discourage kids from going up to the senior high level.
Okay, beyond reaching out to the media, Mr. Kapi encouraged you, the affected schools, to use WAEC's established review procedures to enable the council to investigate. So there's a standard procedure. I want to find out if there was a way you reached out to WAEC. Did you petition WAEC on this?
We have not petitioned WAEC on this. And the same way, if you check, WAEC had started the media communication on the whole concerns coming from parents, even before NAP started our media engagement, even yesterday. And if there are concerns from parents, you don't resort to the media. They rather resort to resolving the issues at the grassroots or at their level. And let's also say that even if we are going for the remarking, the school selection processes are ongoing. When will the remarking be done? By the time the remarking is done, I mean, the selection process is over. If the selection process is over, is there going to be any special dispensation that is going to be given to some of these kids that will be affected by this whole discrepancy from them? There is no time for remarking. There's no time for another set of reselection of school, the placement system on the placement system. And there's no time for us to maybe even ask WAEC to go through processes. Yes, we are considering that option of going for remarking. But just like I said, by the time the remarkings are done, maybe students have started their first year, first term exam, in their various schools. What do you do with the results, even if it happens that they get corrected after the remarking?
You're threatening a next collective action should WAEC not heed to your call. And you're saying that a lot of time has passed. I want to find out what exactly are you looking to WAEC to do to salvage this issue? What exactly practical measures you are expecting WAEC to put in place?
We are expecting WAEC at this moment to be very meticulous and check, in fact, verify again their systems, their collated results again. If there are any discrepancies that need to be corrected even before now, they should do that immediately. Beyond that, the leadership of the association, being led by Professor Damasus Turuson, is convening an emergency National Executive Committee meeting today. And after today, the outcome of that meeting on our next collective action will be made known to the general public.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. He's the communications manager of the Ghana National Association of Private Schools. To other stories, the Tema Regional Police Command has secured the conviction of 2 men for human trafficking and causing harm. 29-year-old Kingsley and 25-year-old Emmanuel have each been sentenced to 20 years imprisonment for human trafficking and 10 years for causing harm, with both sentences to run concurrently. The 2 were arrested in August 2023 after police responded to a distress call at Tema, where 11 Nigerian nationals were found allegedly being held against their will. Investigations reveal the victims had been lured from Nigeria with promises of employment, but were instead forced into cyber-related activities. Police said the victims' phones and identity cards were confiscated. They were fed only once a day and allegedly beaten with laptop cables and machetes whenever they refused to comply. The Tema Regional Police Command says it remains committed to combating human trafficking and cyber-related crimes and is urging the public to report suspected cases to the police. President John Dramani Mahama has renewed his call for the establishment of a direct air link between Ghana and Jamaica, stressing that improved connectivity will significantly boost tourism, trade, business opportunities, academic collaboration, and cultural exchange between West Africa and the Caribbean. He made this remark when he brought his 4-day state visit tour to Jamaica.
Enormity of what you've been able to achieve at that port did not dawn on me till I visited it yesterday. We worked on achieving the same in Tema, which was the industrial port established by our first president. And Tema has increasingly become a hub for West Africa and indeed the whole of the Gulf of Guinea. And so huge ships come into Tema, lighten off, and then reefer vessels redistribute the cargo they bring to other ports. Same thing here in Jamaica. And so we have 2 hubs. What is left to connect the 2 hubs together? And I believe that with the kind of work we're going to do, I nominated our 2 foreign ministers and our 2 heads of maritime authority to see how we can work to connect these 2 hubs together. We held other discussions on defense cooperation, and in our defense cooperation agreement, we've agreed that we'll be each other's keepers. We'll act as family. And so if there's ever a disaster in Jamaica, we'll be the first to arrive here to support our family. And if there's ever a disaster in Ghana, our Jamaican brothers will be there to help us. We discussed issues to do with culture, creatives, and anti-BAPSI, has been the focal point. Indeed, there's so much we share in common.
The Ghana West Municipal Assembly has distributed 1,000 monodecks to basic schools across the municipality to address the growing shortage of classroom furniture and improve learning conditions for pupils. The intervention forms part of the Assembly's education support program aimed at expanding educational infrastructure and enhancing the quality of teaching and learning in the municipality.
Presenting the decks, the municipal chief executive, John Desmond-Sowa, said inadequate classroom furniture had been identified as one of the major challenges affecting education delivery in the GHOne West municipality. He also added that the Assembly's approach goes beyond furniture provision to include investments in school buildings, learning materials, and other educational facilities.
The idea of providing education is comprehensive. You cannot just build or provide furniture and leave learning materials. So for us to be able to close the gap, it means that we have to be holistic in our approach. So the Assembly, in collaboration with all members of the Assembly, the technocrats led by my able coordinating director and the Education Service, we try to do an audit what we need.
Receiving the decks on behalf of the schools, the GHOne West Municipal Director of Education, Victor Noiteria, described the donation as a timely intervention.
We have a lot of furniture gap in our schools, and having received this quantum of furniture, for me, it will go a long way to help reduce some of the pressure that our learners are going through with respect to sitting places. So I'm indeed happy, I'm more than happy to receive this donation from the Honorable MC and Assembly to be distributed to the schools for our learners to use.
The donation is expected to benefit several public schools across the municipality and forms part of the Assembly's ongoing efforts to improve educational infrastructure and ensure pupils have access to better classroom facilities.
We're still watching news from here on GHOne Television. We'll be back with business.
The business.
In business, the Ghana Statistical Service says 7 in 10 Ghanaians who dealt with public officials in the second half of 2025 were asked to make unauthorized payment for services they were already entitled to. The finding in the latest Governance Series report, which tracks citizens' experiences with corruption in public institutions, shows that although requests for bribes increased between July and December 2025, the proportion of citizens who actually made such payment fell slightly over the year. It also points to the growing willingness among Ghanaians to reject corrupt demands. Speaking at the launch of the report, government statistician Dr. Al-Hassan Idrisu said the findings underscore how deeply entrenched corruption remains within Ghana's institutions.
Last 6 months of 2025, the share who paid a bribe rose from 14.3% in the first 6 months of 2025 to 18% in the last 6 months of 2025. That is about 1 in 6 paid a bribe to public official. Requests for extra payment jumped from 51% in wave 2, that is between January and June 2025, to 69% in wave 3, that's between July to December 2025. The pressure sits at the counter. The problem now is less what citizens offer and more of what officials ask. But that hard news sets the brightest spot in the report. The share paying 5 or more times declined drastically from 24% in wave 2, which is from January to June 2025, to just under 4% in wave 3, which is July to December 2025. It reduced drastically from 24% in wave 2 to under 4% in wave 3. This implies bribery is becoming a rare shock, not a routine cost of getting saved. More Ghanaians are finding the courage to say no, and that's very important. So from the recent study we did, refusals to pay bribe by citizens actually rose from 3% in wave 2, which is what we did from January to June 2025, to 4.9% in wave 3. So we are getting more people refusing to pay bribe, which is positive. Police remain top of the list. Over half of those dealing with the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, that's MTTU, still reported giving a gift. But even there, ladies and gentlemen, the numbers moved the right way, as the share reduced from 61% in 2024 to 53.6% in 2025.
But some Ghanaians describe corruption and bribery as a deeply entrenched canker that may be difficult to eradicate, while others believe tougher measures are needed to tackle the issue. GHOne TV spoke to some members of the public to get their views on this matter.
Before I'm entering the teaching service, I was taking a bribe before I was able to get that job. And actually, in Ghana, because of the corruption, people are even employed while they are not fit to that particular job. So corruption in Ghana is becoming rampant nowadays.
On the issue of corruption and bribery, it is a leadership problem. I believe that everything is leadership, right? So if the right systems are in place, I'm not sure people will even have the temerity to think of corruption or bribery. I have faced it several times. I am a second-class upper student. After 8 years of school, I'm still here. And I know people who are far below me that have gotten jobs because they knew somebody, right? So this issue is something I don't think we are going to solve anytime soon, right? But then we hope that someday we will find the right leadership that can deal with this once and for all.
Bribery and corruption in Chaso, Africa, because the entire in Chaso, Africa, is say, it's me the near Matu now comes so ye perceive a yes, but ye did to no yen chichre a pobie no ye chichre from President GHOne Abreso, yes, so a near maybe a honon Kenya, but President Ahurua Abano want to mean because look post a woman will bet me after Moako. See a pese a sutra there, ye chiwa, others say ye bekun, ye betcha witty. Ye the mra no share, any panico a take public officer, and ye na conno say, obey bribe.
Beyond prescriptions and theatre scraps, doctors are talking business. The inaugural Doctors in Business Global Connect series has been launched in Accra, bringing together medical doctors, health leaders, investors, and business executives to inspire business opportunities. It was an evening built on one principle: access, connections, and opportunity. There's more.
The initiative seeks to expand frontiers for health professionals beyond clinical practice into leadership, investment, innovation, and global partnerships. Unlike a typical conference, it was curated as an executive experience, driving conversations on wealth creation, business leadership, and global mobility. The event, supported by partners including Pelican Hotel Cantonments and DevTracker Plus, recorded attendance beyond expectation. Professor Lillian Akofa-Ohene, an associate professor of the University of Ghana and board chair of the Ghana chapter of DIB, said the launch is aimed at connecting doctors to high-value networks and medical equipment markets.
Those who want to practice, we help them to connect with those established health professionals who are already big names there in the system. So we help the young ones connect with them. We also help the young ones who want to go into entrepreneurship, that is producing biomedical equipment, laboratory equipment. Those who want to even import things that is related to medical practice. We also help them to connect to the big names that are out there.
Dr. Abu Suleimana Mohammed, president of the Junior Doctors Association of Ghana, said doctors cannot rely on monthly salaries alone and need platforms for wealth creation.
In Ghana, we colloquially call it the 9 to 5. 9 to 5 rarely gives you the comfortable life that you want to live. And so most of the time you want to do something else aside the 9 to 5 that you do. And Doctors in Business presents the platform for doctors to have the opportunity to engage people who are in business and to get to explore other avenues.
Solomon Woli Wolamo,
And that's it for business.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
One local story, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection says supporting persons living with autism requires a collective effort. It says collaboration is essential to providing better support, expanding opportunities and ensuring persons with autism are included in society. The call was contained in a speech read on behalf of the sector minister at the 2026 GT Bank 5th Annual Autism Workshop and Consultation.
The journey with autism is often accompanied by financial pressures, limited access to specialized services, and the daily challenge of ensuring children living with autism get the needed support. At the 2026 Guarantee Trust Bank Limited's 5th Annual Autism Workshop and Consultation, some parents called for more government support, including incentives to help ease burden.
He doesn't sleep at night. He hardly comports himself when he's in class and then among the peers too. His therapy is too expensive. So if the government can help us so that we can do the therapy for them.
This is I see other country. Ye boa obi awa special needs bia. Ye boa omu ewo sebi adishemu omu edidie mu hospital mu no anka ye benya aban fa ne hunji mu pa na omu parent no na ye bre bebre ho atom sebi bebre nso enye yizi ma omu.
Developmental Pediatrics and Autism Spectrum Clinical Consultant Dr. Benedict N. Kilo said, autism is not contagious, hence the need to desist from stigmatizing people.
I have heard so many times parents who don't want their children to interact or engage with an autistic child because they feel or fear that autism might rub off on that child and pass it on. And so autism is not contagious. It is not a bacteria. It is not a virus. Neither is it a parasite. It is just how the nervous system is made.
Divisional Head of Corporate Communications and Experience at Guarantee Trust Company, Agnes Osu Afram says the bank is organizing a 4-day free consultation program at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, where doctors and specialists will be available to provide support and guidance.
What the bank is also doing is the first and most important step in the life of people living with autism, and that's why we brought all these specialists. So yes, we'll continue to do the advocacy. We don't just inform. From tomorrow through to Saturday, you will have one-on-one consultation with these doctors. That is part of the treatment or therapy or the parts of the support that the child needs. It might all not be medicine. Some will require certain steps, and this is what the specialists are doing, and that's the bank is paying for it.
The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection says achieving Ghana's autism inclusion goals would require a collective effort. Yvonne Norman read the speech on her behalf.
For Ghana to achieve truly inclusive development, we must move from isolated interventions to data-driven decision-making. Strong evidence will enable us to identify unmet needs, measure progress, and direct resources where they will have the greatest impact.
As stakeholders push for greater awareness, early intervention, and stronger support systems, the call is growing for a more inclusive society where every child has the opportunity to learn, develop, and contribute meaningfully.
Let's have some sports news now.
Well, and it's time for sports. My name is Felix Dazi. Coach of the Ghana amateur boxing team, Ofosu Asari, has raised concerns about the lack of investment in Ghana amateur boxing after a disappointing performance of the Black Bombers at the just-ended Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Speaking to Benjamin Yamwa on Star Sports Digest, Coach Asari, whose boxers won 1 bronze medal, highlighted reasons for the poor performance in Glasgow.
don't know about. Our Ghana team was about to be disqualified because we weren't having some documents that we need to bring to the competition.
Well, several athletes have been disappeared after competing in the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, failing to return home with the rest of their teams. Police Scotland said it had received reports of various athletes unaccounted for in the aftermath of the Games, which concluded on Sunday. According to the report in the United Kingdom, 4 members of the Ugandan boxing squad had not turned up to fly home, adding that one member of the team had told the journalists that the athlete intended to seek asylum in Scotland. Pakistani media outlets also reported that boxer Quadratullah had not joined the rest of his teammates in flying home to Pakistan, and that he has not been found in his room when officials went to search for him. All right, well, let's do some news on WAFCON. That's the Women African Cup of Nations. Well, coach of the Super Falcon, Justine Madugu, has praised his players for their resilience despite starting the tournament poorly at the 2026 WAFCON. The coach of the 10-time African champions, who was speaking ahead of their game against Egypt tonight, is optimistic of victory for his side, adding that criticisms from the media is part of the job, and he isn't worried when they come at him.
I think what made the difference was our determination to ensure that we picked the 3 points, knowing fully well the result of the last game, and we also knew that other than a win, nothing takes us forward. And that's why we had to put in everything to make sure that we got the win that we got. I really must appreciate the girls for the kind of energy and effort they put in trying to make sure that they kept their lead, and eventually they put in everything to win.
Let's have some international news now. On the international front, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has warned that Ebola outbreak in Congo is getting out of control, with more than 1,700 deaths recorded in just 14 weeks and contact tracing failing to contain the virus. The Africa CDC Director General says the response is falling short, warning that the contact tracing is no longer effectively containing the outbreak. The outbreak has recorded over 3,000 cases and over 1,700 deaths since it was declared on May 15, making it the fastest growing Ebola outbreak ever documented. That's how we wrap up on Newsroom here on GH1 Television with me, Awisi, Dede, Jangli. Have a wonderful afternoon.